How's the squad come back from the break?
Good, yeah. First little hit out this morning just to get the legs going, and they're in a good spot. So we'll do a bit of a review later today, so we'll get a bit of an idea. But yeah, good freshen up for the players and the staff.
The SNFL staggered round come at a bad time. You can't have players playing this weekend to push their case like Nick Murray?
No, not really, because we'll get the opportunity to train as a group on Saturday and try and replicate a little bit of game simulation within our training on Saturday. So we'll use that session to give our whole squad the ability to put their best foot forward for the Richmond game.
What were some of the major learnings for the first half of the season that you might have reviewed?
Yeah, look, we're doing a lot right, so that was the first thing. Clearly we've got areas that we want to go and dive into a little bit deeper. We'll do that with the players this afternoon, so I won't go into too much detail, but I think more just to highlight our growth, whilst we know that there's still areas of our game that we need to sort of work on. We've been involved in a few close games, and that could be one of them. There's also, again, just how we've got our full squad mentality. That'll be part of what we discussed today, and how that's really important back half of the season.
What about the takeouts from the most recent game?
From the Hawthorn one, probably just not taking our opportunities in the first half. We really liked the way we played. We felt we did a lot right other than putting a score on the board, which we know when you're playing the best teams, you really have to take your chances, and we didn't. And in a low-scoring game, they came out, Hawthorn, and kicked 2 really quick goals, and then all of a sudden it was game on. So that was probably the summary of it. We just didn't quite take our chances.
As someone who's only been here for 6 months or so, come from the outside, what have you made of what you've seen in the first 6 months? What has impressed you? What's been the standout things?
Yeah, what has impressed me is how tight-knit the group is, and that there's a real hunger to continually improve. I saw that at Brisbane, and it's a really good character trait to have. That's not just the players, that's the coaching group as well. So I've been really impressed by that. There's a real hunger there to keep wanting to get better, so that's what we'll aim to keep doing.
The expectations probably never been higher. Nixie's been in charge for 6 years or so now. Does that put more pressure on him, and how's he embracing the expectation from the outside?
No, I think there's pressure on every head coach in the AFL, so whether you're up the top or down the bottom, it doesn't matter. There's pressure there, and he's really embracing what we're doing as a team and as a club, and he's leading us really well.
You mentioned Brisbane, Lucas, you mentioned Brisbane. What similarities, if any, do you see between this group that you're with now and the team that was able to win a flag last year?
I think what you're always looking for is how, as a group, how connected we are, and that's between lines. It's in the locker room. It's out on the footy field. And I see that. I see that. There's guys that are really invested in one another, and as I said, wanting us to make sure that we improve as a club. So that's probably the one thing that really stands out for me. There's a lot of good people at the Adelaide Football Club, which there was at Brisbane as well, and that's a really important ingredient, if you like, for success on and off the field.
Just further to that, I think in your last year, the last year that Brisbane didn't make the finals before they started making the finals, they finished 15th and then made a significant jump, and Adelaide obviously finished 15th last year. Can you pinpoint some similarities between those seasons to actually prove that you can make a quick spike like Brisbane obviously did, and you guys might be able to do this year? Well,
I think having a healthy list is really important, and that's what we were able to do at Brisbane. And clearly some players came in that year to Brisbane, and similar, that's happened here as well. So all those things contribute. The Adelaide Footy Club are just a year further along in their development, and development sort of has its peaks and troughs, and it's all making sure that we stay pretty composed, and that's part of what I'm sort of seeing at the moment. I think it's a pretty balanced group in that sense. We know that we're improving, the players are hungry for that, yet we know that we've got work ahead of us as well.
We touched on Nixie, obviously his contract's up at the end of the year. He and the club has made such a strong start. How has your relationship and your dynamic with him evolved throughout the year? How much are you guys learning off each other?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very grateful for the opportunity to work with Nixie and all the coaches because as much as it's about myself passing on my experiences, it's also about myself learning from those guys and how they operate as well. So, yeah, it's been really good. I'm, as I said, very grateful to be able to sit alongside him and work with him, and we share a very similar passion in regards to wanting us as a club to continually improve and do well.
Seems as the season goes on, the selection has become a lot more conservative, opting for experienced players coming into the side. Is that something that will continue in the second half of the season?
I wouldn't say it's been conservative. I would say that we just pick the best available player to fill a role for the team and the best player available in the best form, whether they're Brodie Smith or a Lockie Murphy or a younger player coming in. So that's how we'll continue to pick the team. We love the fact that the SANFL are doing well and putting pressure on, and that's what you need. So we want to continue to support that, promote that where we can. But yeah, really age doesn't come into it. It's more just around can they fill a role and are they in good form.
What's your week-to-week and game day role actually looking like?
A lot of meetings, it feels like, which is a good thing because the meetings are able to really set our week up and what we're doing on the weekend. So it's an important part of it. The role of the head coach for Nixie is such, there's a lot of demand. So if I'm able to step into a few meetings and allow him to spend more time with the players and other coaches, and that's a good thing. And then, yeah, game day, it's really just about making sure we put everything in place. All the coaches here at the football club do a huge amount of work through the week and then get to game day and it's really like, okay, let's go out and implement what we've been working on and supporting the players. So that's my role, is to make sure I support the coaches and the coaches are supporting the players.
A new deal for McAndrew. What have you liked? What have you seen? What have you liked from what you've seen, and how close is he to being able to make that next step to AFL?
Yeah, well, I think for Lockie to... those that have watched the SANFL, he is a real standout ruckman in that competition. He continues to put up good numbers. Numbers aren't the only thing because he's really just integrated himself into the club really well. He's put great pressure on Riley O'Brien, which has allowed Rob to play at a really high standard as well. So, you know, I think Lockie's got a bright future ahead of him.
Is size still his biggest issue? Does he still need to put on a bit of size, do you think?
I think as a developing ruckman, that's one of the things that he'll continue to do, and just learning actually how dominant he can be and backing himself in. So, yeah, that'll be one of many things that he'll continue to keep working on.
There's a bit of talk about the three bigs, and I don't think they kicked a goal on the weekend. A bit of media commentary about them. How confident are you that they can all get on the same page and get back to kind of what we saw at the start of this season when they were a little bit more dominant?
Yeah, they didn't kick a goal, yet how many shots did they have? 7. They had 7 shots on goal. So I think we take that most weeks. We'd like them to kick the goals, don't get me wrong, yet it's about creating opportunities. And I think the last 2 games, if you were to specifically talk about Brisbane and the game in Launceston, pretty hard. You know, both teams really struggled to sort of hit the scoreboard, if you like. So I think let's look at the bigger picture, which is, as you said, sort of what we're able to do when we get our ball movement going and we give those guys the opportunities. You know, they've shown that, and we've shown that we're a pretty hard team to stop. And what makes a really good team is having a lot of different avenues to goal. So we don't want to just rely on our 3 key forwards to be the ones impacting the scoreboard each week.